I apologize that we're getting to it late. Our first order of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would also, at this time, like to ask for a moment of silence for those affected so terribly by Hurricane Harvey. Thank you. Report that we've met in executive session on July 25th, August 1st, and August 29th. We discussed matters of legal and contract implications as well as negotiations. We'll do our report from the students. No report. I don't see Andrew. Yeah, Doc, not you. And we'll look to Ken. Report from superintendent.
All right. Happy New Year. It was, that's right, ring the bell. I say Happy New Year because while our students will begin with us on Tuesday, we had all of our faculty, all of our staff back with us on Monday morning. We had an opportunity at Convocation to bring the entire Radnor community together. Our theme for Convocation was unlocking the potential in all of us. We focused on the idea that schools are built upon the promise of potential. And it's that potential of our individual students and unlocking that potential is what excites us as educators. And how we unlock that potential starts with how we care for our kids and how we connect with our students, and also unlocking that potential in all of us as a staff. And we talked about how we do that as a staff as well as we come together as a community to support the kids in what we know is going to be another exciting school year. We had many speakers. Some of those speakers are here with us this morning. Dave Wood, Dave Falcone spoke. Laura Foran spoke. We had a student. We had the voices of our support staff, voices of our teachers, voices of our school board. We had the voices of our students. We had a student speaker and our student on the school board, Andrew Lord was there to speak. And then we rang in the new school year. And you can see, I think, it's one of the pictures up there. We had our longest standing employee. He's been employed, Mickey Fitzgerald. He has been employed for 46 years with the district after being a graduate of Radnor. And he's been working at the middle school cafeteria, been working with many of our sports teams over the years. And Mickey rang in the bell to begin our new school year. So it was a positive moment, I think, for everyone as we came together. The teachers have been busy and administration have been busy this week, working very hard to prepare for our students. As we discussed on opening day, we wanted to thank just the incredible efforts by all of our 12-month staff. Our administrative team has worked so hard over this summer, not only preparing for the opening of the school year, but the administrative team has been working hard to make some adjustments to our administrative structure, some adjustments to make us more efficient and be able to support the buildings even better this year. Our custodians, our maintenance, have really been working so hard this summer to have all of our buildings ready to go. We've had many teachers who've been in this summer doing some curriculum work or working at summer school. So it's been a very busy summer, but now our teachers are back, and now we're just waiting to have our students join us on Tuesday. The other item I just want to share as well is I just want to thank those donations. To the district. I know you've heard me say this before, but I think that is just one of the wonderful strengths of our district is the support from the community and the donations that we have from different groups. So I want to thank all of those who are donating to the district this month, and we really appreciate all of their support. And the last item in my presentation is an information on BoardDocs. Mr. Petiti, our communications director, has put together, it's just 4 minutes, but has put a quick 4-minute presentation together to explain BoardDocs. And this presentation we will make available on our website to the public we will make available on our website to board members as well. So it is just a quick introduction to BoardDocs. We will be going to BoardDocs to use to organize our board meetings beginning in September. We discussed this in the spring as we would move towards this new system of trying to not only provide more organization for all of the documents, but I think our public will appreciate, and administration and our staff will appreciate the opportunities and the ease, we're hoping, that to find documents and to navigate through the many agenda items that we have each month. So we're looking at that as a positive. We realize that there will be a little bit of a learning curve as we move to BoardDocs, and I think Mr. Petiti's tutorial that we have here, I think will really help. So Dr. Robarczyk will help cue that up, and it's just 4 minutes, and I just turn it over to Dr. Robarczyk to cue that up, and we'll watch that.
Right away, so.
All right.
Hello and welcome to BoardDocs, Radnor Township School District's new management system for school board meeting materials. BoardDocs allows organizations to improve and streamline the creation and availability of agendas, attachments, and other meeting materials. The district will begin to use BoardDocs for its September 2017 school board meeting, which means all materials typically posted in the school board section of our website here will now be made available on BoardDocs instead. This video will give you a quick overview of how to use the Meetings tab in BoardDocs to view meeting materials. Prior to the September 2017 meeting, a training will be made available for all community members who would like a more in-depth explanation, which would include information on these other tabs. First step to get to BoardDocs is to enter this address into your address bar, or you can access BoardDocs directly from our website by hovering over the School Board tab and clicking BoardDocs, which will redirect you to the BoardDocs homepage. On the homepage, you will find information about when our meetings are held, as well as where you can view the meetings and at what times on our television station. As I mentioned, we will be examining the Meetings tab today. Clicking into the Meetings tab will bring you to all available meetings and their related materials. We have created a sample business meeting agenda in BoardDocs for the August 29th meeting. To view this agenda, you click this button. To print the agenda, you can click this button. We will view the agenda, and we will see that on the left-hand side is a list of all the agenda items for that corresponding agenda. You can scroll up and down this list, and you can click into each agenda item to get more information if available. In BoardDocs, under Presentations, there's additional information describing this presentation. You are scrolling through this list and you see an icon here. That means that this agenda item has files associated with that item. If you click into the agenda item, you can access those files directly associated with that item by clicking that button, and it will pull up a separate window. This is a particularly nice feature, as currently, to access the attachments, you go into the meetings webpage, and they are all listed separately aside from their corresponding agenda item. In this case, they are connected specifically to agenda items, which makes it easier to navigate and locate information. If you wish to print a specific agenda item, you can click this print button and it will print just this agenda item. If you wish to move back and forth without scrolling, you can do so using the back and forward arrows. Lastly, you can share a specific agenda item by clicking the share button and choosing social media and email, or copying and pasting this link. To return to the welcome page, you click the welcome tab and you're brought back to where we began. Again, there will be a training offering more in-depth information sometime before the next board meeting in September. Please check our website at www.rtsd.org for more information on this training. Thank you.
So I want to thank Mr. Petiti for putting that together. The nice part about that is posted on our website, so you board members and public can go back and view that again. If you'd like an overview as we move to board docs, there is on that site, as Michael mentioned, a draft of what it would look like for this month if we had been using board docs. But again, we plan to go live with board docs for the September meeting, and that Mr. Petiti will be offering both for the public and for board members additional training, before it goes public, if anyone is interested. And that's all I have. Welcome back to a new year. It's going to be a great year. I'll turn it back over to Mr. Falcone. Thank you.
Thanks. Our next item will be public comment. At this point, we encourage our citizens to address the board for items on the agenda or other topics related to Radnor Township School District. We ask that you please print your name on the sign-in sheet, the back of the room on the table. When you come to the microphone, if you could please clearly state your name, your street address, and the topic that you intend to discuss. Individual comments shall be limited to not more than 4 minutes as per our board policy. If you're unable to attend the board meeting in person and wish to submit your comment by email, you can do so to boardquestions@rtsd.org or in written form to Mr. Michael Petiti, Radnor Township School District, 135 South Wayne Avenue, Wayne, Pennsylvania, 19087.
That's a long introduction.
Welcome back, Mrs. Spartle. How was your summer? I hope it was
Very
great.
good, thank you. Been here. Cindy Spurtle, 106 Valley Forge Terrace, Wayne. Good evening. One of my comments was to thank Michael for making the process of getting to this a two-step process for the first time on the website tonight. And I'm hoping that once you go to Board Docs, if you can load it onto your computer so you don't have to go to the school site every time you want to look to the agenda. I'm looking forward to that. A couple questions on tonight's agenda. And I guess starting in order, the first is on the monthly finance information that was provided as part of your consent agenda. And that is on both the May and the June monthly reports were provided. And the first question I had was that there is no summary, which is usually provided, for the June monthly financials. And the summaries, or usually summary or synopsis, helps explain whatever took place during that month. And seeing that June is the end of the school year, it would have been nice to have had a short explanation as to how well the projections compared to actual figures. And that was, I don't know if that's a usual for every year end, but the synopsis would have been welcome. It's because June is an important month. The question number 2 on those financial numbers, it was very interesting on the monthly comparison report, last page for June. The report totals that even though we increased taxes last year, the total revenues were only $161,000 above last year's actuals, and the unrealized balance, our budgeted figure was $3,400,000 over what actually came in a comparison, and that is $2 million more than unrealized balance than last year. But we were very close on the dollar variance, and it was very interesting that even with increased taxes. So my question would be, are we losing revenue providing income from properties, and why the reason? This is not comparing it to expenses. This is just straight revenue. The expenses showed a positive decrease of close to $6 million, $5.8 million over year-to-date from the year-to-date actual and the adjusted budget. So that's moving in the right direction, but it was very interesting that even with increased taxes, we didn't seem to increase the revenues. And the other, so I went back just to check a few numbers, the unrealized balance of 3.4 million with the May numbers, and I took the year-to-date revenue received for May and added to it the current month revenue received in June, and the total figure I came up with does not agree with the year-to-date revenue received. So that's another question I had. It's about a little less than $1 million difference. Going to agenda item number, in the consent agenda, item number 5, is a list of services, requests for the following contracts to be provided and approved. And there are a list of contracts. The cost of the district is based on usage. The majority of these are contracts for food that is sold in the cafeteria. One is for the educational consultant. My question is, what was the dollar amount of the usage last year, and what was the total usage? Since it's based on usage, and every year it comes up based on usage. I think that's a figure that we should know or have a handle on. Another one that would be of information, I would believe, to other members of the public is on the recommendation to waive the tuition. It's agenda item number 7 for the 8 students that will be part of A Better Chance, Radnor A Better Chance. And how much is the total cost to the district for waiving that tuition of those 8 students? And on the item number 11, request approval for educational placements. Each year, I totaled up the total cost to the district of the not to exceed for the next fiscal year and the year following that, for the current fiscal year and next fiscal year, and it's over $772,000. And the question is, anyone studying whether the placements that are being made is monetarily the best way for us to go, and educationally also for these students. It seems to be a lot of money being spent. Are there ways that the school district can handle some of these students rather than sending them out? Are we capable of being able to teach and educate them? And item number 16, it's other contracts personnel. The administration recommends that the board approves the agreement between Radnor Township School District and Teresa Borden, the former principal of Radnor Elementary School, who is leaving. And my question is, the agreement for what? Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, Mrs. Sherry.
Thank you.
Hope you had a nice summer.
Thank you. I did. Judy Sherry, Governor's Circle, Newtown Square. I was just listening to Ms. Burrell's comments, and I think basically what I heard was that although we raised taxes, revenues appeared in the June financial information to be flat, and we apparently saved like $7 million in what we projected for expenditures. So it would be interesting to kind of get an understanding of those numbers. My first comments tonight will be about the tri-party agreement between Radnor Township School District, Radnor Township, and the Radnor Center Associates, or the Rubenstein Company, negotiated in 1999. This agreement was a major event in the township at that time. It still continues to play an important role, but despite repeated requests for board members to review and renegotiate it, the agreement might just as well have been filed away in some dusty storage bin. For the purpose of tonight's meeting, I'm going to concentrate on the negative consequences resulting from a lack of review and reconsideration of this tri-party agreement over the last 6 years. In 2011, the township rented Radnor Memorial Field to Agnes Irwin. This was a huge loss of a convenient field for both Radnor Elementary and the high school, and a potentially convenient parking area for high school students. The tri-party agreement was part of the May 10, 2011 School Board Facilities Committee meeting when a Radnor Memorial Field lease was discussed regarding the possibility of Radnor Township leasing it to Agnes Irwin. Discussion also included the loss of field space for the high school's ultimate Frisbee team. I think it was like a pretty impressive Frisbee team that used the Radnor Memorial Field. In response, the committee requested that the construction of more playing fields be placed on a wish list for the school district. To be clear, the facility committee believed the school district should ask taxpayers to pay for building more playing fields for its public school children in the future. However, school board members did not publicly approach or inform the township about this need before the township gave the memorial field away to Agnes Irwin. This made absolutely no sense. It was mentioned the district currently leases Emlyn Tunnell Field in Rosemont to the township for at most $1 a year, and that the township leases Emlyn Tunnell to Agnes Irwin for its softball games for free. I asked the district to hold a joint meeting with the township, look comprehensively at properties each entity owns, including Martha Brown's Woods, and request the township lease the memorial field to the Radnor School District for $1 a year. The township's precious open space should benefit residents and taxpayers rather than private schools and developers. Nothing was done by the school district. May 24th, 2011, at the next business meeting, my comments as follows were again regarding the tri-party agreement. Last night, with no visible Radnor Township School District directors present, the commissioners agreed 4-2 with a lot of protest to introduce a 15-year lease of Memorial Field to Agnes Irwin. The school district receives no benefit at all from the 15-year plus agreement, uses and it now uses it for the championship ultimate Frisbee team. And I asked how many of you school board members have actually gone in person to look and walk around this field. You'll be amazed how good it looks, how well it was landscaped, how convenient it is with ample parking, estate fencing, and a comfort station. All paid for by Radnor taxpayers. No wonder Agnes Irwin is so anxious to get this lease signed, I said. Once you see this field, you'll know this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to exercise leadership and long-term planning to benefit current and future Radnor students. Nothing was done by the school district. At the business meeting of August 23rd, 2011, I noted that the Agnes Irwin use of the memorial field is now questioned in a lawsuit against the township. I would again urge the school board to pull out its 12-year tri-party agreement with the township and the Radnor Corporate Center dealing with the Radnor Elementary Tract and the Township Tract. This tri-party agreement should be reviewed to see if it can be better negotiated for the district since ownership of the financial corporation has changed hands from Rubenstein to Brandywine. This could be a good opportunity to reduce some restrictions imposed on the school district, like parking, and could benefit the school district without creating any disadvantages for the corporate center. Nothing was done by the school district. Okay, we jump ahead to the Finance Committee meeting June 14th, 2016. That was a little over a year ago. How does the tri-party agreement affect the district's ability to handle increases in enrollment at Radnor, I asked. Can the building size be increased? Is there a cap of the number of students? The tri-party agreement should be reopened and reconsidered. And that's what I said at that meeting, June 14th. December 6, 2016, last December Facilities Committee meeting, I said unresolved issues. In June, I asked for a review of the tri-party agreement between the district, the township, and the corporation owner, specifically impacting Radnor Elementary to see if it can be improved for the district. Will this happen or has this happened? I asked. and I received no response. Board members of the Facility Committee, meeting chaired by Lydia Solomon, said nothing. March 20th, 2017, this is past March, new business. Mr. Madden requested that the school district look into the tri-party agreement with the township and the corporate center in regards to whoever is the responsible party for repairs to the walking bridge across Matson Ford Road as it needs cosmetic repairs. That's the minutes of the meeting. April 4th, 2017, new business. The next Facilities Committee meeting. Michelle Decal reported that the tri-party agreement has been located. The tri-party agreement has been located and has been sent to the solicitor for review. Before I read the results of the solicitor's review of this agreement, which were summarized in the May Facility Committee meeting, and based on my right to know cost the taxpayers about $600, I'd first like to read the straightforward description found in the tri-party agreement itself on page 5 about maintenance of the pedestrian bridge. Quote, "Township shall maintain and repair the pedestrian bridge in accordance with applicable laws, provided that district shall be responsible for snow and ice removal." So the school district has snow and ice, the township shall have the maintain and repair the bridge. The costs of construction, maintenance, and repair shall be shared equally. The cost shall be shared equally by district and township, subject to the limitations set forth in Section 15, which was mostly about construction, Section 15, not applicable. And then it says, in the agreement, the pedestrian bridge shall be owned by the township. So that's pretty clear if you just read it. It was shocking that the tri-party agreement regarding the pedestrian bridge had to be sent to the solicitor for review, costing taxpayers dollars, as I mentioned, when maintenance issues are so clearly spelled out in this document. Additionally, the board president, Dave Falcone, is an attorney who purports to have experience in real estate law. So, the results of the solicitor's review are found in the May 2nd, 2017 Facilities Committee minutes. Agenda item number 1, pedestrian bridge tri-party agreement, action. Here are the exact quotes from the minutes. A committee member brought up this agenda item at a previous meeting concerning repairs to the footbridge. Mike Christofko, solicitor, reviewed the agreement and provided a written opinion stating that the school district is 50% responsible and the township is 50% responsible for repairs. And the township owns the bridge. The district is not aware of any cost estimated at this time. The next step will be conversations with the township about this issue. The committee suggests RTSD reach out to the township about the repairs and also should revisit the agreement. If this summary is accurate, it's wrong. It should state that the district and township are 50% responsible for the costs of construction, maintenance, and repair. The township is 100% responsible for maintenance and repair. It's not that the school district is 50% responsible and the township is responsible. That's what is summarized in the minutes. It's like going out to dinner with a friend. One person picks the restaurant, in this case the township takes care of the repairs, and then the cost of the meal are split equally. My right to know not only requested the costs for the solicitor's review of this document, but also his review. The review itself was denied because of attorney-client and work product privileges. I'm asking board members tonight to waive attorney-client privilege and release this review paid for by taxpayers. Keeping it a secret has no strategic advantage for the district when dealing with the township. Plus, it appears from the May facility meeting minutes that the review paid for by taxpayers was inaccurate. Again, the township is solely responsible for maintenance and repair, and the costs are shared equally. So, just a few other issues. Have all board members received a copy of the tri-party agreement for review? Have you all received the tri-party agreement? Yes? No? No answer? No? You had. Well, that's good. Have all board members walked the site described in the agreement, which is really important, to walk that site and know it. If you haven't walked the site, please notice from my photo taken today, my apologies are that I guess the green in my film was not, it's like, gives you a look at this through rose-colored glasses. But there are two signs. I'll start with the parking lot. My photo taken today is of the virtually empty parking lot adjacent to Radnor Elementary and separate from the Radnor Corporate Center. There are two signs on it stating Radnor Corporate Center parking only. And yet there are plenty of empty spaces in lots closer to the corporate center. As you can see, this area is where people are parking for the school district, and this is right adjacent to it. It's totally empty. You know, there's no one parking there. The corporate center doesn't need this. And when you look at the corporate center parking lot, the spaces closest to the school are all empty there. This lot should be renegotiated to benefit the school district. It's not being used by the corporate center and was foolishly given away in 1999 negotiations. Over at the so-called environmental park, which I don't know what that means, next to Radnor Elementary School today, an apparent wildlife bait, which looks like treated cracked corn, was found on a rock nearby to the school's playground. Here's the school's playground, and here's a whole bunch of what looks like some kind of treated corn. What is it? Is it a poison, or is it being used to attract animals for hunting? Who left it here? It looks like it's some kind of wildlife bait, and it's close enough to the playground to, I think, present a question as to whether children that are playing there would be tempted to eat it. So I point that out, and I'd like to hear, what is it? Is it poisonous? Is it just being used to attract wildlife so that they can be hunted?
Mrs. Sherry, if you wouldn't mind, I just asked if you could give Mr. Stitzel that picture and just share with Mr. Stitzel where you saw that. That would be helpful.
Yeah,
Thank you.
He can see it in relation, but I'll be happy to share it with him.
Thank you.
After 18 years, it's about time for Radnor School Board members to seriously review and renegotiate this tri-party agreement for the benefit of Radnor taxpayers and students. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, Dr. Winters. Welcome back. I hope you had a good summer.
Thank you. I hope everyone's going to have a great school year as well. I would like to thank Mr. Petiti for his efforts to make our lives easier as those who try to be involved and abreast of what's happening in our school district. And I have two comments. One is on item number 6 regarding supplemental contracts. It's really called the PTO clubs. But I would hope, as we've looked at those supplemental contracts for years, it seems now, that we would look at the inequities between levels that impact not only the present compensation of employees, but I believe their pension benefits in the long run, because elementary PTO contracts, I believe, come out of PTO funds, and supplemental contracts at the middle and high school come out of district funds. So that might just be something you might need to look at in the long haul, because I think it does make a difference to employees and those who go the extra mile to do these after-school activities with our students. And I also noted that the football club, as you noted, has contributed significantly to the new scoreboard. And I was wondering if, in fact, the district has any oversight in any of their activities. I know with all the concussion news that you hear about all the time, I don't know if the district has any oversight in looking at the tackling and the training of the coaches and the kinds of activities that are involved. And also, I believe if you look at their practice schedule, you may see that it may, in fact, given the hours in which they practice, impact their achievement in school, because it looks like it's a pretty heavy-duty schedule. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Wood. I know you had a great summer, so I'm not going to
How do you know that?
I don't know the details, right?
Very few details, yeah. Good evening.
We're just happy you're here, given your experience with that snake.
Yeah, it was a great experience. I just wanted to make some comments tonight about the direction that the district's going in. And from the time, I think, the spring of last year hit, and we saw, what happened at the end of the year with Dr. McGuigan organizing all the activities that we did at the end of the year to make up our snow days, which, mind you, as she probably doesn't know this, but as we talked this year in getting teachers back together, people were commenting about what they did on those days and the different activities that they were able to do that they wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. And I think they were really, really valuable days. But I think that's where it began, and the positive nature, which those of you that were here on the opening day could see the positive nature of the opening day this year. And it was probably the most positive that I've seen in my time at Radnor, which is about 25 years. And since I was a speaker as a student, I did that in, I think, 1991 or something like that. But I think it was a very positive opening, and I think you're seeing a direction that the district is moving in, and I think that's due to leadership at the top. And I think that because you had no recognition tonight, I saw that there were no recognitions, you need to recognize yourselves as a board for bringing in the person who provided the leadership that's going to push this district in the direction it needs to go. And it's not that we haven't done a great job so far, but I think the direction we're moving in is even better than where we've been. And I think it's just overall a great thing. And I'm just really glad to see we're like pushing over the edge at this point, and I think it's a really positive thing. I also wanted to recognize, while he's not here tonight, Mr. Petiti for the award he received for the Wall of Honor project, and he received a communications award for that project. And I think it's a great thing. Brought a lot of positive press to the district, and I guess that's his job, but it's still, he should be recognized for that. So anyhow, I want to recognize you as a board for, the move to bring in Mr. Batchelor, and then the rest of the administrators who have worked with him hard, and staff, and everybody who's pushing us in a positive direction. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Any emailed comment? None. Thanks, Patty. We'll next look to our reports from our board committees. At this point, our committee chairpersons may report on items pertinent to the agenda or of general importance to board business. Curriculum. Lydia, do you want to give a report on curriculum, given that Mrs. Michelson is not here?
I am not prepared at all to give a curriculum report. I didn't know she wasn't going to be here.
Okay. We'll look next to facilities.
No report.
Finance, Mrs. Booker.
Yep, we met, we went over, we had just a brief discussion about where we are with the Citizens Advisory Committee. We had a brief discussion about possible refinancing of bonds. That'll continue. I think they're going to come see us later on that. A couple of recommendations out of that. I think they were going back to bring us some more information for our next meeting next month, with the idea that they'd be back before this board at the end in September for some possible refinancing that could save the district money in the end.
Thank you. Policy, Mrs. Stern.
Yes, the Policy Committee met July 11th, and we have two items on the agenda tonight. Policy 121 for first read, and Policy 210 for a second read. I'll actually be pulling those a little bit later, and our next meeting will be September 12th at 6 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. GRCC.
Yes, our June and August committee meetings were canceled for scheduling conflicts, and our next meeting will be on Tuesday, September 12th at 7 o'clock, and we have requested to go for 90 minutes for that meeting only, to make up for having not had committee meetings occur the past two times they were scheduled.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll move to our consent agenda, and although board action is required, it is generally unnecessary to hold discussion on these items. With the consent of all members, they are therefore grouped, and approval is given in one motion. In the event that a board member wants to discuss an item, the board president will move it to an appropriate place on the agenda. Is there any item that a board member would like to pull from this consent agenda?
Yes, I'd like to pull number 2, number 3, number 13, and number 14.
Any other items? Seeing none, I'll ask for approval of the consent agenda, less items 2, 3, 13, and 14.
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor? Any opposed? Number 2.
Yes, so I move that we approve that. I'm going to be abstaining. I wasn't at the meeting, and I was not able to watch the meeting. So I move we approve the minutes.
Is there
So
a
moved.
second?
Second.
A second from Mr. Miller. All in favor? Is there any opposed? Seeing none. Number 3?
And 1 abstention.
Yep.
Yep. Number 3, I will also move to approve, but I'm going to abstain. There was a reimbursement in the June bills for me.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? 1 abstention. Number 13.
Yes, I don't really so much, I'm going to pull this just to say that the agenda reads slightly incorrectly. Policy 121, which is presented for first read, is curriculum-related field trips, not curriculum-based field trips. And with that change in the title of the agenda, I move that we approve this for first read.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
I have a technical question.
Sure.
Sure.
Okay, this community-based field trips, is that very similar to community-based instruction? Does that have?
That's curriculum-based. Curriculum-based, Chuck. Curriculum-related
Right.
field trips.
Right, yeah, curriculum-related, curriculum-based. Based on the curriculum, I mean, can that have an impact on the students who may be using that?
So in the policy.
I didn't read the.
Yeah, no, it's okay. In the policy, how curriculum-based, curriculum-related field trips is defined is within the policy. This is just that the wrong title was used in the agenda.
All right, okay, thank you.
Okay. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. And then lastly, I think number 14.
Yes, so I'm pulling the policy as attached to tonight's agenda that was slated to be for a second reading tonight. Upon review of the policy that was inserted in your packets, and I apologize for that, I was away this weekend, there were updates that did not get included. And so what the administration worked hard today, and I've given everyone a copy of Policy 210 as amended, and we're presenting that for first read tonight. It's been discussed with the members of the policy committee, this decision. The vice chair and I met with administration today and reviewed it, and we will have it on our September agenda for review and second read in September. And so with that, I'm putting forth the policy that I handed you all tonight. It was brought to the back of the room. We gave it to everyone in the audience. We're going to ask the district to put it on the website tomorrow, making note that it was that it's a change, and then we'll be discussing it at the September meeting.
Do you want to have any further discussion on the policy, or are we okay to move it for that first read and consent?
If there are members here who would like to discuss it, that's certainly fine. We will be taking it back through policy, but certainly if there's anyone here who has any discussion, that's fine.
Is there any member of the board that would like to discuss this further?
I have now 4 copies of this, and I can see how the changes were made. Is there some way that we could put notation on these different
date,
copies
yes.
that this is the actual
That's
fourth
the actual one. And what you
version?
have before you, Lydia, is a red line version. That's what's in your left hand, and then the clean. Some
Well,
people prefer to read, well, that's in the attachment. That's what I just
I
pulled.
actually have 2 different ones on my attachment, and then I have 2 other ones that you gave me. And I see what we're doing, and that's fine, but is there some way we could just put that on here?
Yeah, Tony,
that
so
this
we'll
is the
do
one?
dates from now. We're going to insert
Just
a
so
footer
that
or header with a date.
I grabbed
Yep.
the right one instead of the wrong
Yep.
3. Thanks.
Yep. So I don't know if there's other discussion. I move that we have it for first read.
Is there a second? All in favor? Any opposed? There are none. So that wraps up then the consent agenda. I will also note, although it was approved as part of our consent agenda vote, you'll see that the Radnor Township School District 2018-2019 tentative budget calendar is included. It is subject to change, but I'll simply note that Tuesday, November 7th, 2017 is general election day as opposed to primary election day, as it's listed on the calendar. So that will be a change that's made. And again, the calendar is subject to change, but we know that one in advance. Is there any new business?
Before we go to new business, can I just mention one item from the consent agenda? Just want to mention the board-approved contract with an agreement with Mrs. Borden, our retiring principal from Radnor Elementary. Since we did not have a July meeting, that is part of her retirement. We agreed to provide Mrs. Borden, we're providing Mrs. Borden with one additional month of health care, and in return, she had agreed in that additional month to help transition with the change in principalship, the new principal, and we also in the agreement, we're providing her for payment for 5 personal days. That is that's the contents of that agreement.
Thank you. And I'll also note generally to those that come to our meetings regularly and ask questions of the board and the administration, what we have decided as a board is that as a general practice, our administrative team will review the questions brought to the board every Wednesday following our general board meeting, and that the goal will be then to address each of those questions in the following month and making those answers public. So where you've asked a question of the board and you're looking for a response, we aren't ignoring your questions, but our protocol will be, we'll look to the administrators to review each and every question Wednesday after our meetings and then bring those answers back in our following meeting. So you should be expecting and looking forward to answers to your questions at that next meeting. Our board announcements, our next facilities meeting and policy meetings will be at 5 and 6 o'clock respectively on September 12th. Our government relations meeting will be at 7 p.m. on September 12th. All 3 in the ground floor conference room of our administration building. On September 19th, we will have a 4:30 meeting of our curriculum committee and a 6 o'clock meeting of our finance committee. Those as well will be in the ground floor conference room of the administration building. On September 26th at 7 p.m., we will have our regularly scheduled business meeting that will be here in the township's Radnorshire room. Next, we will move to our last session of public comment. Again, our citizens are encouraged at this point to address the board, to comment on any matters of concern, official action, or deliberation, which are or may be before the board. Speakers are respectfully requested to avoid redundancy and to limit their
Sorry, Dave, we skipped all the board liaison reports. I don't know if anyone has any reports.
Did I miss that?
We skipped
I did. We'll go back to that
section.
Mrs. Spurtle, is it okay if we ask for those reports before your comment? I apologize. We'll look for our board liaison reports. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Lydia.
In summer. It's not too many
Yeah.
reports.
Any reports for the DC, Delaware County Community College?
No report.
Delaware County Intermediate Union?
The Aston building is well under construction at this point. Should be completed on time. The schedule is to have the school ready by this time next summer. We'll be moving programs in there, including an extension on our youngest of kids, all in one building, which is a pretty exciting thing for the IU. And also, the other thing happened this week, well, really last week, we did a launch of the STEM program that we've been working on, just having a senior moment on what it's called. It's not STEM Council, it's something. Thank you. No, we had the summit, but I can't remember the name of I can't believe I can't remember it. Anyway, it's the STEM Council. It is the Delaware County Intermediate Unit is got representatives. We are coming back together again. We had about 100 people join us for the summit last week, where we just kind of rolled out the idea of what we're going after and working together. I am excited to say that it includes not only educators, but we have people from the community, from business representation, large businesses like Boeing, small businesses as well, and we're coming together to come up with a plan of what STEM looks like in the future across Delaware County, and to see how we can work together to make that happen so that all schools have similar STEM opportunities. So looking forward to it. There's a couple of working sessions coming up, and then we'll get the larger group back together again as the fall rolls on. So I'm on that committee as a parent representative and as an engineer.
Thank you. Federal Relations Network,
No report.
the IU Legislative Council, PSBA.
The IU Legislative Council met, it was yesterday. I have yet to get the information about it because I was not there. I will report back on that at our next meeting.
Okay, thanks, Chuck. Parks and Rec,
The Parks and Rec meeting, basically, we had a discussion on how the parks will be managed and how the parcels of land that are not cut, that are left wild and have some invasive plants growing in there and some vines. And the discussion is how we're going to manage that. They put together a task force to look into that. And I know the Shade Tree Committee has discussed it. And it's a bit of a change from what they've done. They really, in the past, have just let that area, the different areas within the different parks, just let that grow naturally. But now we're going to begin to address some of the issues that have happened from doing that. That's basically it.
okay. Thank you. PTO, PTSA Coordinating Council.
No more council. We changed the name. PTO, PTSA coordinating meeting.
Right.
That meeting did not occur at all over the summer, but the first one for the 2017-18 school year is on September 25th.
Thank you. Ref and Radnor Alumni Council.
No report.
Okay. Thank you. So now we'll go to our public.
And Radnor Scholarship Fund and Radnor Page, no report.
Now we'll go to our public comment, I think. Yeah, right. Any other reports that I've missed?
Obviously, you came in organized tonight, right? My apologies. The question is, the two school districts on either side of us, Lower Merion and TE, started school on Monday. And I guess my question is, I believe Lower Merion did. I know TE did. And I believe Lower Merion did also. Was there any consideration to changing the Radnor schedule? I don't know. Just thinking that sports teams are here, they've been here for 2 weeks, et cetera. So that was the reason for my question. And also, in Chuck, to carry back for the Parks and Rec, the invasives at Harford Park need to be addressed. So if that's in part of the program. Thank you.
Judy Sherry, I did mention this at a couple committee meetings, but I'm going to mention it again because coming up Thursday. One quick plug for the free Sports Concussion Community Night, sponsored by Penn Medicine, this Thursday, August 31st at 7 p.m. at Penn Medicine Radnor, room 203, designed for parents, coaches, and athletes. The notice states, recently a study showed 99% studied former NFL player brains showed signs of chronic traumatic encephalopathy, which is a degenerative disease caused by repeated head trauma. CNN reports out of 202 deceased former football players total, a combination of high school, college, and professional players, CTE was neuropathologically diagnosed in 177 out of 202. Dr. Sarah Slattery of Penn Medicine, Internal Medicine, and Sports Medicine, a graduate of Radnor High School, always have to mention that, is one of the presenters and will share her expertise on sports concussions. And she has very, very nice parents, too, if they're out there watching somewhere. So to register, the register number which I called today is 215-893-2548. Today I spoke to Kia Copeland. She answers the phone. She also has an email address, kia.copeland, COPELAND, at uphs.upenn.edu. When I spoke to her today, she said it would really be terrific if people would register, because then if they have some other future program that might be of interest to the school district, they can be sure to inform everyone. So I think this is a really good opportunity. It certainly is an issue that's received a lot of attention in press, and we have a lot of young students that are still participating in tackle football. So I would encourage people in the board to attend, as well as all of these parents, coaches, and what was the other category? Athletes. Thank you.
Thank you for that very important message, public service message.
First day in Lower Merion is next Tuesday.
Thank you.
Thank you for having such a concise meeting this evening, and I would like to thank particularly Mr. Falcone for informing the public how questions will be answered in the future. I think it's always wise for the public to know what the process is so they do not go away disappointed. Thank you.
Thanks. Is there any other business? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Good night.